Carly, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jimmy.
Uh, thanks,
Hey,
thanks for making some time for me today. I appreciate
absolutely. I will always make time for you.
it. Carly Donofrio, a high school friend. I had Austin Roberts on the show a couple weeks
Oh,
back,
fun.
who's he's a former NFL player.
Yes.
But through the podcast, I've figured out that everyday people, such as yourself, play an important role, especially on like important days of their lives. You as a hairstylist, just to like get your background of it. I mean, what was kind of the first experience that you had that kind of got you interested in this career path?
So I've kind of always been in the salon due to both my cousins. They actually currently own the salon that I work
Yeah.
at right now called Wild Horses, which is located in Indianapolis, right off of 69. But they have been doing my hair since I've been in fifth grade. So I've always kind of known what the beauty industry was like. And ever since I sat in that chair for the first time with them, I just always knew this was something that I would love doing eventually later on in life. So that's
Right.
kind of like how I kind of got into hair from the beginning, is just having cousins that were older than me. And I just started off being their guinea pig with them doing color and cuts. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, and did you have any influence from your mom? I feel like when you're growing up, having that kind of influence, your mom might have,
Oh, totally. So
some kind
I
of
have a
impact on how you
huge,
think.
yeah, so I have a huge family. A lot of girls run in the family, and
Yeah.
beauty has just always kind of been, I feel like, a big thing in my family. My grandma has always been into fashion. I grew up with a grandma who every week would stop by our house with
Yeah.
all new clothes for us. My mom always had me and Cassie, since I have a twin, always dressing us up to the nines and always doing our hair. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just feel like that's always just kind of been in my blood due to my grandma and my mom just being a huge influence with hair and makeup and clothes.
Well, and you mentioned that you had a twin. Would you say that your twin and yourself are similar, or do you try to differ between one another?
So Cassie and I are definitely night and day when it comes to twin. We could not be
Uh,
more opposite. But it's crazy because she actually now is an esthetician. So she
what's
does
that?
like all of like the skin. So she does
Ah,
massages, she does lasering. So it's kind of crazy. We always say it's just nuts that we both ended up in the beauty industry, just kind of doing different things. I do the hair and she gets to do all the facials and massages. And
yeah.
so our family is kind of lucky that they kind of get best of both worlds when it comes to that.
Um, let's take a step back. As far as if somebody was interested in being a hairstylist, kind of run through your experience so far, and
Yeah.
would they? I mean, what kind of education or credentials would they need to get
Right.
started? Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. They have a program that kind of really helps for like people of all ages, which is nice for people who have, busy schedules, are still in school, who have children. You can either do a full-time schedule, which gets you done in less time, or
Mhm.
for like people who are mothers or have other types of jobs, you can do a part-time, which is what I ended up doing. It
Yeah.
takes a little bit longer, but when you need to, make income at the same time. I had a full-time job, which was nice for me. I ended up just working for my cousins who, like I said, own the salon. So I was kind of like doing like an apprenticeship during that time of school.
Yeah.
So I'd work all day from 9 to 5, and then I would go to school at night, which was great that they have night options too for people.
Yeah.
And then I would go from school from 5:30 to 10 every single day for 2 years.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it was long days and, a trying 2 years, but, it worked best for me being able to still have a job and have income. So, yeah, they have tons of different options. And the nice thing is they just have so many different beauty schools too around that you don't have to travel too far. Now they have so many in so many different towns, which is nice for people.
I mean,
Um,
is
but
it
yeah.
is it affordable too?
I mean, now just because I feel like the beauty industry has just totally blown up, and I feel like it keeps getting more popular and popular and more jobs
Right.
available for people, I feel like the price has gone up. Oh, another thing I was going to say is you can actually, depending on what high school you go to, they actually do have programs for students for like your last 2 years of junior and senior year. You can do like half schooling during the day and then actually go to school
Right.
for being a hairstylist. And it is a fraction of the cost. So I always tell my girls like in my chair that are always saying, "Oh my gosh, I would love to be a cosmetologist." I'm like, you know what? Do it while you're in high school. Even if you don't even end up, really pursuing something full time with it, just to have that like under your
Right.
belt, and it's literally a fraction of the cost. I'm like, you might as well just do it, especially if you have an interest in it. So that's another option, girls have too, which is
Well,
really nice. And something I really wish I did, because I ended up paying like triple the amount, but like I said, it ended up working just due to, like I said, they're so flexible with the times, and
yeah.
you can do schooling and they work around your schedule, which is really, really convenient.
So, and this should have probably been a couple questions before, but when
No,
you
you're
say
fine.
when you say hairstylist, I mean that's kind of like saying entrepreneur to me. Like
Right. Okay.
what does that encompass? Does that include
Okay. So
coloring or what?
so cosmetologists, there is an endless amount of different jobs you can do with cosmetologists, which
Yeah.
I did not even know that. I mean, I just kind of assumed it was just hair, but I mean, there is so many different options that you can do with being a cosmetologist. I mean, from even if you have like a business side, I mean, you
Right.
could never touch a bowl of color and still end up making great money and a great career out of
Right.
it. You can travel the world, you can be a spokesperson. I mean, the list is endless. But I chose to be a hairstylist, and my specialty is doing hair color and doing hair extensions. So
Mm.
that has pretty much been my main focus right out of school, is doing that. So that's pretty much my full clientele now.
And if you don't mind, mention some of your clients, or at least the types of jobs that they have, and like
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's an impressive list.
Yes. So, yeah, I've been really blessed. I feel like I'm super blessed just having, like I said, working underneath my cousins who own the salon. I mean, they
Yeah.
have given me an endless list of opportunities by working under them. They've been my mentors. They've handed me down so many cool clients that I still have and work on today. I'm trying to think of like a good list I could give you. I feel like our salon really works with a lot of Wish TV anchors,
Okay.
and a lot of people that work there. Yeah, and we do a ton of extensions on a lot of those clients too. So there's some ladies around here that big businesses around Indy that I end up doing color and extensions on, and which is nice because once you make that connection, more
Right.
people from those businesses end up kind of walking into the door of Wild Horses, which has been a huge opportunity for our salon, and has grown our business as a whole a ton over these past like 5 years.
Are you ready for your mind to be blown? I thought about this before the show.
What?
If we go back to when we started high school, which would have been 2009, I've
Which
known
is
you.
mind blowing, by the way.
Yeah, I've known you for more than 10 years. So
You know
yeah,
what? I just can't
yeah,
believe. I mean, just hearing 2009 is crazy to me, but
yeah,
it is just so true when they say you get older, just time just flies by
yeah.
more and more and more. And I just can't even believe it's been almost 10 freaking years.
Well, the reason why I bring it up, I've been involved with radio and TV from the beginning, so
Right,
I
right.
can I can appreciate, or at least understand. You probably feel a sense of responsibility to your clients, like they're going to be in
Oh,
the
for
public
sure.
eye. you
Oh,
know
yes. And I was going to tell you this too, going back to high school. One thing that has been so awesome about my job is the connections that I've made with childhood friends, from middle school friends, from high school friends, just like getting one girl in my chair that I've gotten to connect with, girls I didn't even know that were at Carmel, which has
right.
just been such a cool, like, way of connecting with people. And then they refer someone that I've known from my high school or middle school. And I just think that's just so cool about my industry too, is all the
Mhm.
connections and the new people that I get to meet and people that I've had walks of life with. I just think it's so cool that I get to have a job that connects me to so many amazing women.
Well, and let's let's go into the Carmel experience because it's unusual. Let's be honest.
Oh, for sure.
Going to a high school like that, if you had to describe Carmel High School to somebody that's never seen it, what would you say?
I would say that, gosh, that's a tough question. I would say Carmel, when you hear Carmel High School, the first thing you just think of is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I mean, especially just going in as a freshman, knowing you're going into one of the biggest competitive high schools there is. I mean, I was lucky enough that I ended up going to high school with a core group of friends that I grew up with my childhood from elementary, middle school, going into high school. And I feel so blessed that I can still say to this day are my best friends. So I just feel really lucky that I got to go into that whole experience, having a good support system, going into it. Cause like I said, I just know Carmel High School is very overwhelming. I know it comes with lots of challenges.
Yeah.
But I'm proud to say I came from Carmel. I really enjoyed my 4 years at Carmel. Not saying I didn't have my struggles.
Yeah.
Not saying that it was not hard. I definitely had my moments. But at the end of the day, I feel lucky that I had parents that had me here and that I had the best education you possibly could get.
Yeah.
And but like I said, that does not mean that I did not have my struggles throughout those 4 years.
We're gonna get into that in a little bit if you don't mind.
Yes, no,
and
I'm an open book. I've always been an open book.
And that's what I love about you. That's why you're on the show. But talking about like Carmel, I just want to run through a few things that we had. So beginning, like I had 4 years of a radio education before I even got into college.
Which is awesome. And I'm so proud of you, Jimmy.
Oh, thank you, dear. But,
welcome.
TV as well, full TV station. We had a planetarium. I mentioned this, anybody that listens to the Noel Kassler podcast, we had the very first high school football game ever on the main channel of ESPN was at Carmel against Cathedral.
Right.
Like
which is crazy.
They brought in
and like I said, that's why Carmel's so awesome in that aspect too, because it brought so many cool connections and opportunity for students like that. Yeah. Like there's not a lot of high schools that you can say you can get experience like that.
Well, and I was laughing too because it's horrible like context, but one of the reasons I never drove to high school was that you had to walk down the trail from the football field. Yeah.
That trail, every time when I pass that high school still to this day, I just look at that trail and I'm like, jeez. Oh, what? That was just brutal, especially through those winters.
And was this just a rumor? You mentioned you had a twin. Did Carmel break like the record for most sets of twins?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. What'd you say?
Did Carmel have the record for most sets of twins in a graduating class?
Oh, or was that a record? I was literally just that's funny you mentioned that. I was just talking to one of my clients about that. And yes, I believe it was senior year when we ended up being in the world record book for the most set of twins. And I'm pretty sure it was 18 or 19 sets of twins.
Okay.
Which is wild. And we all met up in the cafeteria, all of our twins, and we were all supposed to match. And we all took a group picture. And it was just kind of the most crazy experience ever, just seeing that amount of many of like set of twins in the same area. And I always thought we had a lot of set of twins, but I never thought we would actually like make it into the world record book.
A lot of girl boy sets too. Like
I know. Oh, for sure.
Or you just don't like associate it. They're always together. But
so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you too, like it wasn't the easiest thing for me to navigate Carmel. I mean, it was a campus. Physically, it was difficult.
I mean, and truly, that's why I said, I said, it's just so overwhelming that some people really do look at Carmel like it's almost like a mini type college campus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's humongous and
and another challenge that I ran into, and I'm sure you ran into this with the friend group that you had. There were beautiful women everywhere at Carmel, and like comparison is the thief of joy. Did you ever run into like being jealous of other girls at school?
Oh, 100%. I feel like that was a huge, like one of the big struggles that I dealt with, just always, those 4 years of high school, it's just such a trying 4 years of trying to figure out who you are as a person, trying to figure out your style, who you want to be. And, with Carmel, there just really is a lot of pressure. I mean, just even coming from Carmel, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stereotypes that we get, and, that can be really hard on someone. There was a lot of times where, just because we came from Carmel, we just automatically were hated or, and that is really, words hurt. And one thing that I really have always tried to stick to always is just to always be kind and loving to everyone. And I've always really tried to always make everyone just feel good and happy and beautiful about themselves. And like I said, because I have always come from a family of always being into the beauty and the fashion and stuff, I just always grew up with women always encouraging me to, be myself, have my own style, beat to my own drum. And I just always have tried to have that shine throughout me to other people. I always want everyone to feel as beautiful and as confident as they can. And I really tried, my hardest, throughout high school, even if I dealt with it, personally, struggles, I always wanted to try to make everyone feel, good about themselves. And I really feel like that's why I love my job so much, because I get to make women feel beautiful, even in that couple hours that I get to be with them during the day, just having them smile and feel the best that they can. I mean, you just can't put a price on that. It's just the biggest joys of my life. It really, really is.
Yeah. I mean, to think about it, I mean, I thought about it because I saw a post and it made me think of you. Beyond doing just hair, a lot of people go into a salon to spill their feelings and kind of be a therapist. You're sort of a therapist while you're working on them.
I almost say I'm even more 50% of the therapist than I am really there to make their hair pretty.
Right.
And you know what? I love that. I enjoy that. And I feel so privileged that I get to do that, because there's nothing that brings me more joy in this world than getting to make other women feel beautiful and feel loved and know that they're heard. And there's so many women, like you said, that sometimes they just come to the salon and sit in my chair, honestly, just to escape for just a little bit. It's not even about the haircut. It's not about the extensions. It's not about that color. It's just about sitting in the presence of someone else that doesn't really know your whole world and being able to be open and just vulnerable. And it's just so nice that I get to, help someone out every single day through that.
The stories that you've heard, I'm not going to make you tell any, but I'm sure you've heard a few. Are there any that you could share?
You know what's so crazy? I was just telling my friends the other day, I go, you know what? Because I was just thinking, I love listening to podcasts, on my way to work or if I'm on long drives. I said, you know what would probably be a big hit is if I started a podcast and I just went on air and just kind of started sharing all of the stories that I hear from clients and just almost having saying these stories so people can relate to them. People just love hearing stories about, all this crazy stuff that people tell me all the time. Wow. But yes, I mean, even today, I had some clients this morning and I had the entire appointment, I had a woman, crying to me about things that are going on in her marriage. And I hear things that are going on with children that they have. And I mean, when I say I hear it all, I hear it all. I hear the good, the bad, the ugly. But like I said, just that I got to be there, like I said this morning, with a client that's going through so much. She left with a smile and hugs me. And the fact that I got to give her 2 hours of just peace and, it's kind of like you said, a therapy session and just having a shoulder to be there for, that's what the glory of my job is. But yeah, I mean, it's not even just for them. It's for me too. The amount of advice that I've learned from my clients from all ages, it's unbelievable to me. I've gained so much knowledge and wisdom from doing this job through my clients. And that's 100%.
And if for nothing else, it's perspective of hey, my life's pretty good in comparison
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Oh, you know
You know?
what? And at the end of the day, there's a lot of times where I'm like,
Yeah.
I just thank God. I thank God for my life and my job, and
Yeah.
it, you know, and it's brought me so much closer to my faith too, because through these clients that, like I said, that, you know, struggle with so many of these different obstacles in life, I'm able to pray over them and, you know, be there for them.
Mhm.
And, you know, a lot of people don't have a huge support system. So just being able to be that for all these other women is just amazing. And, you
Yeah.
know, it's a platform for me to share my Christianity and share the Lord. I mean, I'm so thankful that I have this job so I can do that for others.
There you
And
go.
yeah, I'm just so thankful that God has just put this in my life, because it's helped me in that aspect in so many ways.
Well, and the thing too that, you know, I go back to high school, and around the time that we were freshman, sophomore, that was like the Great Recession. You know, Obama was taking over. A lot of
Right.
people were struggling at that time. It wasn't necessarily as visible at Carmel because, I mean, there's just an influx of
It's
money.
exactly. It's
But
almost like we're kind of in a bubble at some point. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, I mean, I think that, but like, I got a lot of my clothes from Goodwill. There's no shame in that. But
Absolutely not.
but
Absolutely not.
I'm saying that like in the past year or so, fashion and like working on my hair
Right.
in a world where you can't control so much, I feel like that's something people do have control over, and that's why it's so important to them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And like when I say when it, you know, there's the beauty. I just think it's so cool too that people can really show who they are through
Yeah.
their hair, through their clothes. You know, it shows
Yeah.
how you carry yourself. Yeah. So I think that's a huge, you know, important part of it too.
I mean, and that was going to be the follow up. You agree that hair and makeup, I mean, that's an extension of somebody's personality. I can tell almost instantly how someone's going to be if they got a
It,
crazy hairstyle.
for sure.
Yeah.
It just kind of represents kind of who you are, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I have some clients that come in with all these spunky, fun fashion colors, and the second I sit in my chair, I'm like, oh my gosh, this hair just totally represents who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Which I just think that's such a cool aspect of being able to do hair too. You get to kind of see your personality through doing hair.
And you know, we dealt with the pandemic. You could touch on that a little bit, but you know,
Oh, for sure.
I did customer service for 2 years, and let's be honest, like it's kind of an angry tone in the world right
Oh, for
now.
sure.
Like,
Especially when people are angry at the world, it's very easy for
yeah.
people to kind of take it out, like you said, on customer service type jobs.
So I mean, yeah, have you ever run into something where a client's disappointed and they're pissed off? I mean,
I wouldn't, not necessarily. I mean, there's definitely been times where like I think me and a client have disagreed that we weren't a good fit. But
right.
and I'm lucky to say nothing like crazy bad has ever happened. But yeah, there's been times where, you know, we're like, you know what, this is probably just not a good fit, and it's been really respectfully done. But trust me, have I heard horror stories of how
Yeah.
awful some clients can be to hairstylists? 100%. Going back to the pandemic, you know, that was a really, really, really hard year for me and for like my salon and a lot of local hairstylists, especially for stylists who are independent like I am. I feel so blessed that I have a great clientele who respect me and, you know, wanted to take care of me during that time. I had clients that were, you know, helping me out, you know, with bills. I had clients that, you know, even had me come over to their house if they felt comfortable for me to keep busy and, you know, keep doing hair and making money. You know, it was a really scary time. I mean, it just hit us so fast. You know, it took a while for unemployment to, you know, happen for independent contractors. So yeah, it was just a really scary time. But at the same time, you know, the good ones pull through, and, you know, I just feel lucky that I have really great clients that care for me, you know. And you know, it kind of opened my eyes to that, how important it is to have, you know, good relationships in your life. And you know, how each moment really is just, you just got to really appreciate it all, because it can change in a blink of an eye, just like we saw these past 2 years.
Well, and one thing that kind of humbled me is when a pandemic happens, celebrities are kind of normal people. They're kind of
they're like, oh, this is what you guys all do, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now you're living, now you're getting a little taste of what reality is.
Well, and it's, there's so many celebrities that I think about that definitely influenced us. I mean, Lady Gaga is one that,
Right.
Her hair, her fashion was different in comparison to the average classic look. Do you have any celebrities that well, they look cool? I follow them on Instagram. I kind of, have an influence of their style in my approach.
Yeah, so I have a tricky feeling about when it comes to celebrities and social media.
Yeah.
It's just social media. You went from being a real connecting way for people to connect and get ideas off and inspiration and, lift each other up. And I just have to say, I just feel like it's just changed over these past years of almost social media has just kind of become almost like this fake bubble. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's really hard to relate to celebrities now. I feel like there's just so much the social media has consumed people. It's not the real reality. It's not the real looks of people.
Right.
I mean, the filters and what they have out, I mean, it literally alters your entire look. I can't stand behind that. It's very hard for me to stand behind that, because that's not empowering. That's not lifting other people up. And it's just not real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Are there celebrities that I totally respect, and, especially people that actually do hair, that I love for sure. But, as a whole, when I look at social media, it's just, and hey, I'm not saying I don't fall for it, that I don't post, and I,
yeah.
And I love staying connected with people. But at the same time, I just feel like a lot of these young girls, I just think about high school girls now. And
can you imagine TikTok in 2009?
Absolutely not, Jimmy.
Get out of here.
You know what? And hey, I have a TikTok, and I'm, I'll scroll on that thing for hours, but I try to think of my young self and already how hard those 4 trying years are, and to think of the pressure and how many social media apps there are and how many filters there are, and how people they have these literally fake filters now that change the appearance of who you are. And then you have these young girls going, why don't I look like that? And then
it's impossible to meet the expectations.
Yeah. Exactly. And I have young girls who are in high school all day long in my chair, and I literally see how it is affecting their minds with the social media. And it just kills me that it's gotten to this point. I mean, it really makes me just so sad, because social media is not going anywhere. And really, from the looks of it, all it's doing is just spiraling out of control.
Well, and I'm not speaking for all men here, but then you have men on the opposite side that are watching that all day, and then they get false impressions of what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's become literally like a fake. It's become literally almost a fake bubble. I mean, it went from social media went from just really, I felt like connecting with people and, uplifting to just now this gross, fake, not real community. And I just wish we could get back to just lifting people up. I mean, every day when I get on social media and I just see people tearing people apart in comments.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the pandemic and people have a lot of time on their hands or what, but it just makes me so sad. And I just think of, women that can't handle that and what it's doing to their minds. And it just, it makes me sad. It makes me really, really sad.
Well, and it's an addiction. Let's call it what 100. It is.
Exactly. That's the truth.
I had to get off of it this week. I literally tweeted It's affecting it's a
right.
poison to my mind.
You
So
know, it totally is. And especially with the
yeah,
pandemic
yeah,
and with the political stand, I mean, everyone has something to say and no one holds back anything, which in my opinion, I just think people just need to put the phone away and
right.
relax. You know what I mean? It's become like a war. And that's kind of how I view social media now. It's a constant battle between sides. And it's like, I would think these last year and a half, we would have came together as a
Right.
whole and, you know, and thought, you know, wow, you know, life is short and things can change in a blink of an eye and let's love each other and let's get through this. But if I'm being completely honest, all I've seen is just people ripping each other apart. And it's like,
Well,
you know, we got to get back to the point of, you know, being united.
not to make it political either, but
Right.
the politicians did it. Somehow
Right.
we managed to be more divided after a pandemic than before.
And that's what that's the
You
most
know
mind-blowing part of it all. It's like,
what?
I
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
totally.
I think it will. Unfortunately, I think a lot of this is baked in, and it's going to take a lot of time to get out.
Right.
But we're on that path, and I'm talking to folks like you, everyday folks that are making a small difference. You
And that's
talk,
what I was going to say. All we can do is
yeah,
be the best version of ourselves,
that's
and
right.
just by bringing light out into the world. And, you know, hopefully one day, you know, everyone can jump on that bandwagon and we can, you know, all
Yeah.
spread a little bit of joy and love, you know.
Going back to high school, you mentioned that you'd love for Facebook to be back to version 2009.
Yeah.
Are there any other trends you'd like to see come back? I wrote down a few. Heelys, remember those? Those were,
Wait, the oh
yeah.
yes.
I have
Yes.
trouble with like regular shoes, so those wouldn't work for me. But
Yes, that is so funny. I remember those. I'm trying to think of some trends I would like.
yeah,
I don't know. I remember when like jumpsuits like kind of were back in the day, which I
yeah,
feel like you like the 90s are coming back in, which I'm all about. I think it's really fun to like see people bring back like different, generations of different types of styles and putting their own little twist onto it. I think it's kind of fun to see all that stuff come back.
I'm really surprised. Like when you look at the fit in the '90s, the shirts are just enormous.
Oh, I
Like,
mean, I have, especially like these high school girls, you know, they all are about like being with the trends. And I see these girls come in with these baggy jeans and the platform Converse and the oversized shirts. And I'm like, it's straight 90s. But like you said,
yeah.
everything's just so oversized.
Well, and it's weird too, like being closer to 30 than I am to 20. That's scary to
Right.
say.
Can you even
Like,
believe that? It's
no,
crazy.
no,
Yeah, I
it's
just turned 28 and I just can't even believe that we're literally on the verge of turning 30. I can't even wrap my head around it.
and this kind of has to do with like unrealistic expectations. I still see some Instagram models that are like 23, 24, and I'm like, I'm 28 and they look like they're my age.
Oh,
You know?
and I mean, and you know what I feel that way too. I see all these girls walk in and they tell me their age and I'm like, wait, excuse me?
Yeah,
You're 17 and you look my age? And
right.
a lot of them tell me is over these past couple years too, with social media and YouTube and all the things that they can get access to, these girls are learning how to do hair and makeup. We didn't have that. I
Right.
mean, we could go get videos and stuff, but we never had the access to social media like how these ladies have, you know? And there's so many influencers now that share all these tips and tricks and hair, tutorials. And, they've just learned so many ways of how to keep up with like the trends that you're saying.
Yeah. Back in my day, we used LimeWire to get music.
Yes.
Now
I
it's
mean,
just
they
on
wouldn't,
Spotify,
a
who
lot
cares?
of these, they wouldn't even know what LimeWire was.
Not
That's
that
when you know when you're getting old, Jimmy.
not that I downloaded anything from LimeWire, but um Carly, we're kind of coming up on the end of the interview today. You said you could go in any direction. I think you're capable of going anywhere you want to go. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself. I I want to be in this industry forever. I don't know if that will always mean behind a chair. I don't know if that means maybe one day I'll be traveling, speaking at, different types of events for hair. But I just absolutely adore this industry. And I'm so grateful for the women that I get to work on each and every day. I'm thankful for my salon and the women that I have around me, working next side of me. I mean, I'm so blessed that I have women every day next to me, always lifting me up, always encouraging me. And to have that space, especially in today's world, to have a core group, especially at your work environment, to have that, I just feel so privileged and lucky to have that. And I'm just so content right now. I'm just so thankful. And I really do see myself in the next 5 years, still being at Wild Horses. I love representing it. I love working with family. I'm so thankful that I get to have a job and be with my family. Our goal is here in the next year and a half, to be opening up a big new salon for Wild Horses, which is really exciting. Stay tuned to where that address will be. Nice. But yeah, big things are coming for Wild Horses, and I'm just so lucky to be a part of it. Truly, I really, really am.
And I have to ask, since you're young, do you have any ambitions to leave Indiana and go to Hollywood or do something bigger?
I went to California. I was just talking to my boyfriend about this, and I went to California right when I kind of started getting into hair. And I went to California, and my eyes just were like, what is this place? Get me here now. I'm not going home. I mean, I just fell in love with the beauty all around me. I mean, everyone's hair was perfection, and I was almost kind of in awe. I just had never seen anything like it. It just almost took me aback. But I'm such a family person too. So when I told my parents of thinking of maybe moving to California, that really was not an option. I my whole family here with nieces and nephews, so that kept me here. But yeah, I that at one point, I thought about moving, but yeah, we feel so content to be, still here in Carmel. I'm glad to say I'm still from here. And we have both our families here and tons of nieces and nephews. So I would probably say, in these next, near future, we'll be here for sure.
Well, and I can't help but think of a show shot in Georgia, The Walking Dead. I thought of you, have you thought about going into costume makeup or anything of that sort?
Hey, I think the girls that can do that type of makeup are phenomenal, and I kudos to them. Okay. I unfortunately don't have that talent. I don't know how to do all of that crazy makeup, but I think those people that can do it are sickly talented. I think I'll probably just stick to the color and the extensions.
Well, for folks that are looking for color and extensions, how can they reach out to you and book an appointment?
It's pretty easy. You can just give us a call at the Wild Horses number, or you can go straight onto our website, and it directs you straight up to all the stylists that work there. You just click on the name, schedule an appointment, and then you'll be connected to me. I also have an Instagram too. It's Carly Donofrio Hair, where you can direct message me. So there's
is there a wait list?
There's never a wait list. I always make room for my girls. Always.
Awesome.
Yes. Well, Jimmy, this has been such a pleasure getting to talk to you. You've always been one of my favorite people. You have always been a ray of sunshine. You just really are just a great, great, great person.
Well, thank you, Carly.
I mean it. I mean it with my whole heart.
It's been awesome to talk with you, folks. To hear this again, check out my website, jbkonair.com. The podcast, you can also find that by searching my initials, JBK on air, anywhere that you get your podcasts. And until next time, have a great day and a better tomorrow.